The Edmonton Oilers have defeated the Winnipeg Jets. Final score 6-1. Boy, was this game very full of things to talk about. Yeah, this is going to be one of the longer ones, and if it's not one of the longer ones, it's going to be one of the ones where there's a lot packed in. What is it with us being able to just toy with the Jets the way we have at times this year? I mean, honestly, as an Oilers fan, it's fun, but God, I'm starting to feel for Jets fans, they have not had a good stretch over the past while, and now they have fallen out of the second seed in the North, which at one point seemed like theirs to lose, and indeed, they lost it. And now, the Oilers have that, they also have 2 games in hand. I'm starting to like the chances. But before we talk about any of that, let's go from the first part of this game. Let's go through it like we normally do, unless there's a bad defeat, which we haven't had any of in a while, so that's good to see. Starting off with the lineups, there is a lot to talk about here, so I'm going to try and go as fast as possible. Ready? Dominic Cahoon's playing on the top line with Connor McDavid and Jesse Puljujarvi. Draisaitl, Yamamoto, and Nugent Hopkins reunite. Zach Kassian is now on LTIR, meaning he's going to be out for a while, at least till the beginning of the playoffs. But Ryan McLeod makes his debut. He was killing the AHL this year, comes up to play third-line center immediately. Defensively, all the pairings stay the same, except Chris Russell comes out for Dmitry Kulikov, who makes his debut, which, yes, means Chris Russell is no longer a top 6 defenseman every single day for the Edmonton Oilers, and he is just a depth defenseman. Thanks for being here, Chris. Not going to miss you, though. There we go. I think that's the fastest lineup rotation I'm ever going to do on this channel. Let's get into this game because, like I said, there's a lot to talk about in it. Starting off in the game, it was about a minute in that Mike Smith had to start making some ridiculous saves, and I don't understand how he continues to be able to do it. Some quick, crazy saves, the way he does it in the first minute of this game. Darnell Nurse takes a cross-checking penalty, and it gets killed off. We're being outshot 7-2, though, at that point, and I'm getting scared. I'm getting nervous. Then, Dylan DeMello takes a tripping penalty, and while the Oilers did not score, they had almost 2 full minutes of possession where, they didn't shoot, but they were just building up a bit of confidence in themselves offensively. And at the time, even when goals were scored, I didn't really think much of it. I now look back on my notes. That was a turning point, in my opinion, for this game, because after that, that's when the Oilers started taking the driver's seat in the offensive zone. That's when they started getting the majority of chances. That's when they started taking over. The craziest thing about this game is that the Oilers still were outshot, which I think just goes to show how good Mike Smith was and how bad the Jets were in many facets tonight, which I'll talk about at the end as I do the full game recap, not event by event. The first goal comes after the puck gets dumped in and Draisaitl goes into the corner. I can't remember who he's battling, but he ends up winning that battle by back passing it up to Adam Larson, who's in the slot. He has Chiasson beside him. He kind of just slides it over to Chiasson, who one-times it in the net. We have a 1-0 hockey game. Chiasson's 100th career goal. Congrats to you, buddy. And it's 1-0 for the Oilers. Not long after, though, Pierre-Luc Dubois takes the puck into the Oilers zone, and he leaves it at the point. There are going to be a lot of times tonight where I say Jets player left the puck in the zone or Jets player made a bad pass. It was a bit of a theme tonight when the Jets were in the offensive zone creating the Oilers scoring chances. There were a lot of breakaways and a lot of 2-on-1s created tonight by the Oilers, partially because of the Jets not being able to get things done right. Connor ends up getting the puck, picks it up, and he just walks it into the zone. He doesn't even have to go fast, McDavid turbo mode. He just kind of walks it into the zone, throws it over to Tyson Barrie. He takes a shot. It takes a bounce off Jesse Puljujarvi and ends up in the lap of McDavid, who kind of just takes it back in, whips it into the net, and now you're talking about a 2-0 hockey game going into the second period. And the Oilers, in the second half of that period, it was their period. It was their moment. They played well in it. Then we head into the second period, and boy, I did not expect things to go the way that they did. McDavid has a breakaway not long in, and stop me if you heard this before, because of a bit of a turnover by the Jets, if I'm not mistaken it was. It gets stopped by Connor Hellebuyck, though, who had a game. We'll talk about that at the end. Not long after that, though, the Jets bring it in. the shot gets tipped by Tyson Barrie, so I can't remember who it was, but there was a shot. Barrie tips it, it goes around the boards, and it ends up in the lap of Dominic Cahoon, I think by a pass from the other side of the boards, right on its stick in front of the net. He says, who's that fast man that just happens to be sprinting as fast as he can? You know what, I'm scared. Throw it up there. And he ends up throwing it to this guy named Connor McDavid. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a pretty good hockey player. He skates in, fakes a slap shot, just gives a nice little finesse tap. It's his second goal of the night, and it's 3-0 for the Oilers. And you thought McDavid was done scoring. No. Not long after that, the Jets have the puck in the zone. Derek Forbort specifically. Nugent Hopkins pokes the puck off a Forbort stick. It goes out. He ends up getting the puck, and he's on a 2-on-1 with Draisaitl. Blake Wheeler's the one left back. And when I saw Blake Wheeler was the one there, I'm saying, I was just thinking to myself, okay, Blake Wheeler's not good defensively. 9 out of 10 times this is going to be a goal. Turns out it was. Nugent Hopkins passed it to Dry. Dry did the big wind-up, slappy, one-time thing, and now you're talking about a 4-0 hockey game. And you thought we were done. Connor McDavid then ends up getting another bit of a turnover. He ends up being able to go into the zone. I'm getting confused now with my Connor McDavid-involved goals. McDavid goes through the middle of the ice, ends up going off to the left wing. Jesse Puljujarvi then receives a pass from McDavid. He's in the slot. Down to Nurse, who's right near the net. He slaps it on. It's 5-0. And at this point, I'm like, okay, it's done. Then Josh Archibald takes a tripping penalty. There's a bit of a passing play. Puck bounces off a couple places. Ends up in Scheifele's lap. He snipes and scores, ending the shutout at the moment. At that point for Mike Smith. And it's 5-1. And I'm thinking, please don't pull a Toronto. And then my fears got vanquished because, hey, do you remember that really fast man from earlier? You know, that fast blur of energy that Dominic Cahoon saw passing by up front like it's an anime episode? Well, yeah, that guy returned. If I'm not mistaken, and I actually did my research on this one because I didn't know who it was. I am fairly certain it was Kyle Connor at the point who turns the puck over on the 6th goal here. Correct me if I'm wrong, I just remember there being a 1 in the second digit, and I went on to Hockey Reference and looked at players on the Jets this year who had a 1 in the second digit, and I was like, Luke Green's not playing, so Kyle Connor, I might be wrong, like I said, let me know down below. But Kyle Connor turns the puck over, and he's trying to throw it across, and he happens to throw it to him, that Connor McDavid guy. McDavid then just kind of gets a breakaway, and it's just like the Jets are realizing, should we even try? Like, we're not beating him, right? Connor McDavid moves in, and his hands just kind of start to spasm out. I was actually worried for his health. His hands were going so fast there. He ends up getting it, gets a forehand shot off. It's 6-1 going into the third period. In the third period, they decide, you know what, Connor Hellebuck, the other Connor is better. You can take the rest of the night off. Laurent Brossoit goes in. Literally nothing happens in the rest of the third period, and the Oilers win 6-1. Major implications from this game if you don't know. This puts the Edmonton Oilers 1 point ahead of the Winnipeg Jets, moving them into second place in the North Division with 2 games in hand on the Jets, and another opportunity, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday night, to turn that into a 3-point advantage with 2 games in hand if they were able to win it. I like this game that the Oilers played. I really did. I liked almost everything about it. There were some times where the defense did struggle. However, there were also times where they really succeeded. Starting with goaltending, Mike Smith I don't know how he's doing it. You know, I don't understand it. I really don't understand how well Mike Smith is playing. But genuinely, we're starting to get to the point, and I might just be sounding biased here, we're starting to get to the point where he may actually get a Vezina vote, like, at the end of the season, man. out of the North Division, if I'm not mistaken, at this moment, especially after the night Hellbuck had, he is the goalie with the highest save percentage, I think with, like, actual, like, the only actual starting goalie in the North Division, like, out of them. He is the guy with the highest save percentage right now. I think that is a true stat, and let me know if I'm wrong. But if it is a true stat, then, man, that helps his case, and also he has been the savior of the Oilers season at some points. Whenever they're not playing good, whenever they're starting off slow, he's the guy to bail them out, and then they just have to go rocket mode and do their thing. Yeah, I really like the way he played the game. The defense, we already knew what we had in 5 of the guys, right? And they played well. They did their thing. Dmitry Kulikov surprised me. He wasn't bad defensively. He was really good defensively, as a matter of fact. But also, he did show a bit of offensive poise and awareness for the situation, and I didn't mind him. You know, like, you saw Chris Russell do that. But it just never went anywhere. Like, there was never a plan. It was always, whenever he had the puck in his hands in the offensive zone, it was dumped around directly to the other team. Dmitry Kulikov seems to have a mind as to, okay, if I throw it to the other team, they get the puck, and that doesn't help us. Honestly, Dmitry Kulikov over Chris Russell is not even close. Kulikov played a great game, great debut for him against his former team, mind you. Then you get to the forward core, which the top 6, need I say more? I mean, finally, I've liked what I've seen out of the dry line. They finally, like, they haven't been bad this year, but you've been waiting for them to kind of get to that next level. They've now gotten to that next level. They are there now. They are at another higher echelon of play from this game alone. They played good. McDavid, the fact that we are still saying there's a possibility he hits 100 points this year is mesmerizing. We're sitting here talking about the fact that if he scores 18 points in 10 games, he can hit 100 points, and saying, oh, that's doable. That's literally 2 points a game. We should not be able to say that about any player, but it's Connor McDavid. So yes, we can say that. The third line, I like the bottom 6's play tonight. I felt like they were aggressive. I felt like they were chippy. Ryan McLeod, really? McLeod? I think it's McLeod. Yeah, he really impressed me tonight. I liked what he did in the offensive zone. I liked what he did in the defensive zone. And I think that as a bottom 6 guy for the Oilers, like a guy in that role, he fits in perfectly with what the identity of the bottom 6 needs to be. The bottom 6 on this team, their identity needs to be hardworking, aggressive, physical at times, and they don't need to be offensive snipers or goal scorers. They just need to be good, solid, gritty type players, you know, who will get into the corners, will win the puck battles. That's what you need in the bottom 6. Ryan McLeod did a good job in that place tonight. I hope he gets another game. I think he will get another game this week. And I'm really excited to see what he brings to the table. Honestly, like, this is the type of game that even when a Cassian comes back, and even when a Kara comes back, if they do, this is the type of game that earns you a roster spot over those guys. Phenomenal night. Phenomenal night for Ryan McLeod in his debut game. As for Winnipeg, boy, do they need to figure some things out. They do. I watched the Jets-Leafs game on Saturday night. I watched the whole thing. It wasn't pretty for the Jets. I know that they lost a game to the Leafs the Thursday before. That was not a pretty game. They lost tonight. This was not a pretty game. Not only are they losing games, they are also losing players. Nikolai Ehlers is out for the rest of the regular season and hopeful for the playoffs. That's risky. But here's what I'm going to say about the Jets. They're not playing well right now, right? I feel like because of tonight, because let's face it, we all know what's going to happen. We all know what we're going towards. It doesn't matter who the 2 seed is. It doesn't matter who the 3 seed is. I want the 2 seed personally, just as a bit of personal vindication. We're going to see a Jets-Oilers playoff matchup. There's no debate about that. There's nobody that's going to catch Toronto. Neither of them are going to catch Toronto, and neither of them are going to fall below Montreal, Calgary, or maybe even Vancouver. We're seeing this matchup, which is why these couple games are important, and we're watching as the Oilers are dominant over the Jets in the regular season. Why do I still feel completely terrified about playing that team in the playoffs, especially when they end up being healthier? I am worried. I am. We're going to have to see. Maybe I'm just paranoid. I don't know, but I think the Oilers now have 10 games left in their regular season. I've made it 46 games without missing a minute. I'm happy about this. And I'm really excited for what these next 10 games have to offer, the final 10 games of the year. If I'm not mistaken, we play Winnipeg. That's our last game against Winnipeg on Wednesday. And then from there, it's a lot of matchups against Vancouver, and then a couple against Calgary, and then a couple against Montreal. But I think the majority of our matchups are against the Vancouver Canucks. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see if this team can hold on to the second spot in the division. And I'm excited for this playoff run. I got the jersey and everything now. I'm good to go. What did you all think of this video? Please let me know down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all on Wednesday night as the Jets play the Oilers for the final time. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.